Hey, you guys. Good afternoon. Bear with me. Excuse me. Bear with me as I go live on Instagram. And I am still battling this cold, you guys. So just bear with me. Still battling this cold. Hopefully, I'll be coming out of it soon. Sooner rather than later. But we are in day 15. Alrighty, going live, you guys. Bear with me. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Abelor from 1720 Faith. Thank you for joining me for day 15, 10, 5, 15 of the Gratitude Challenge, the Financial Gratitude Challenge. And I won't be before you long today. I am still under the weather and I'm still a little behind, but I'm going to try to play catch up as fast as I can. But today we're coming from the book of John, and it is talking about an example of Jesus, or example of what it is to just give thanks in advance. So coming from the book of John, chapter 6, verse 11, it says, Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed it to those who were seated as much as they wanted. So a key example for this, really quick today, would be you are battling a financial hardship. You're battling a financial hardship where all the bills are coming on you. Every certain things have to be paid within a certain time frame. Excuse me, you guys. You find yourself trying to figure out, you're doing everything you can to stay on top of the bills. You're doing everything you can to pay off debts. You're doing everything you can to get yourself in a better financial situation. And even though it's a struggle, even though it's a challenge, even though I've been budgeting, dollar to dollar, paycheck to paycheck, penny to penny, I'm doing it. It's been tough, it's been a challenge, but I have been doing it. And so today I want to encourage you. I want you to stop and think, in the midst of all of this hardship that you're going through, have you ever stopped just to give thanks in advance, despite knowing what the outcome is going to be? Before you even know what's going to happen with this particular bill you have to pay, this particular loan you fell behind on, you've spoken to people about payment arrangements, you're waiting for certain people to get back to you, you haven't heard back, and you're trying to figure out, what is my next move? Have you ever stopped and just simply said, thank you, God, for these challenges, these hardships, because it's your will, not my will. Yes, I put myself in financial difficulty, but however, it is in your will, it is in your time that you will help get me out of this particular situation. In the book of John 6:11, Jesus gave thanks for the loaves of bread and the fish right before he distributed out to the 5,000 people. Now, mind you, when Jesus originally got the food, the bread and the fish, he did not have enough to feed 5,000 people. In your instance, you may be living paycheck to paycheck and you are barely having enough to cover the bare necessities of expenses, but you're trying. You're trying. You're working overtime, you're picking up extra shifts, you're building up your side hustle. You're doing everything that you can to get out of debt. And so with the very little that you are having right now, have you stopped to give thanks to God just for the bare minimum that you are able to divvy out to your creditors? Have you stopped to think and say, thank you, God, for allowing me to be able to pay these bills, no matter how large or how small my checks or my deposits have been, no matter how tight my money has been. Thank you in advance for allowing me to pay these bills and still stay a little bit on top of where I need to be. Sometimes I spoke about this a few days ago. Sometimes that God has the answer. He's just waiting for us to say thank you. He's waiting for us to show gratitude. And in the midst of our financial challenges, give him thanks. Say thanks in advance because we don't know what blessings he's working out behind the scenes. We don't know what blessings he's working out behind us. We don't know what blessings he's going to bestow us with because we don't know. We can't see him. We can only trust in him and we can only have faith in him that somewhere down the line, he's going to work all things out for our good. And so when Jesus gave thanks for what he had, when he just started distributing the food, he then came to realize the little that I had multiplied into a lot, and I was able to feed 5,000 just from, I believe, the 3 or 5 loaves of bread and a couple fish that he had. Everybody was able to eat first, second, third portions. They were able to eat until their hearts and stomachs were content and satisfied. And so this pains me to believe that when we have to sit down and we have to do our budget and we don't know where extra money is going to come from, excuse me, we don't know where we're going to get the money for this bill that this bill collector keeps calling me about. We don't know where we're going to get the light bill from. All I have is $50 to put on my light bill. That $50 could be the difference between your lights being kept on for another few weeks, another couple of days, to them being shut off because you feel like this is not enough to keep them on. So in essence, I liken this to, you have that electric bill. You call the people, you say, I can only put down $50. How if I put this $50 down, how many days before I receive a shut off notice? Or how many days do I have before you shut me off? Sometimes just saying thank you in advance before you call these people, you might luck up and get somebody to say, hey, if you put down a 50, I could extend, or I could give you an extension out for the next 3 weeks. So you have to pay the bill in 3 weeks. I'll credit you what you're paying, and what's due, you have 3 weeks to pay it. Whether you pay it in increments, you pay it half now and then the other half, or however you're going to pay it. But this $50 is going to basically keep you on for the next 3 weeks, but you have 3 weeks to come up with the rest of the payment. And so I liken this into when Jesus had the 5 loaves of bread. He just went to God with, oh, this is all I have. Thank you, God. You're going to God with $50. Thank you, God. This is the last $50 I had. Miraculously, he was able to feed 5,000. Miraculously, that $50 was able to keep your lights on for another 2 to 3 weeks. Again, this is all because you decided to take the initiative to sit down, pray, and give God thanks. Give God thanks because you did not know what the outcome was going to be. Jesus didn't know what the outcome was going to be. He didn't know that from so little, he was able to feed so many. You don't know from so little of a payment that you're paying how it's going to extend you from not having to be in the dark. And for those of us, we're in the fall, winter season, keeping your heat on, an extra 3 weeks to make sure your home is warm for you and your kids. Like, we go into this with a thankful expectation that all things will work out. We go into this with a thank you, a gratitude, a heart that is pure, and that is in its humblest form of thank you, to say thank you, God, for what little that I have. You are going to multiply and make it much. And so this is significant for those of us, again, who are in our budgeting journey. We know that we're pinching pennies, we're counting dollars. No matter how little we have, we're stretching it to make it work. And it's by the grace of God that we're giving him the glory. We're giving him the honor, the praise, and the thank you that whatever we have, we are able to stretch it. We are able to stretch it to cover those necessary bills that we need to pay, or those necessary debts that we need to pay. By the grace of God, we are getting through this, but it all begins with simple gratitude and thanks. I strongly believe that God would not have allowed me to be here to be able to pay off my debts, to be able to uh, almost complete phase one of my debt-free journey. I strongly believe it's because when I first started this journey, I went into it with a heart of gratitude. I went into it with, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know what you have set before me. I don't know what the path is going to be, but I thank you in advance, because if it's not for you, had it not been for you, I would not be where I am today, paying off debts and successfully paying them off. So, with that being said, you guys, I am hopping off, and I'm going to leave you with 3 questions today, as I always do. I just want to make sure and pull them up. 3 questions that I have for you today. And the first question is, why did Jesus give thanks before feeding the 5,000? Well, we know he just gave thanks. He just gave thanks for whatever he had that he was able to feed. I'm sure he probably had it in his mind, I don't have enough for all these people, but I am going to go ahead and say thank you, and whoever's able to get fed, I'm going to be show gratitude, and I'm going to be thankful for that, because someone is going to get fed somewhere, somehow, some way. Whatever I have, whatever can be fed is whatever going to be fed. He was not anticipating that when he said his thank you prayer, that God was going to multiply that little that he had and turn it into something big. And so the second question is, how can you give thanks before seeing the outcome in your life? As I stated before, just giving him thanks, even when you have a little, thank him in advance anyway for that little, and go ahead and do what you need to do financial wise with it. Because you never know on the back end what he has set up. You never know what financial blessing he has that's set up for you, for this particular debt that you have to pay. Sometimes I know a couple of times I've gone to pay a debt, and when I go and I inquire about the balance, I'll always ask, okay, what's the balance? Are they offering any percentage off or any amount off if I go ahead and pay it in full? Or is that I'm thoroughly surprised on what people are accepting nowadays, and they're still allowing you to, instead of saying settle, they're saying paid in full. So you never know what's going to be on the back end when you sit down and you say thank you, and you call these people and you set up your arrangements. You don't know. So this is why we should give thanks for what the outcome may be. Now, sometimes we can't always sway people. So whatever the outcome is, it's whatever the outcome is. We just have to adjust and do what we need to do accordingly. And so today's homework, you guys, is before eating your meals today, pause and give thanks, not only for the food, but also for the unseen ways God is working in your life. So when you sit down, you have your meal today, your snack or whatever you're going to have, just sit down and thank and give God thanks for the food, and then also give him thanks for any blessings that he's going to bestow upon you in the future, thanking him in advance. This is all what this is about. Learning to give gratitude and thanks before a problem even hits. Learning to give thank you and gratitude and praise long before the current situation you see the outcome. Learning to give thank you and praise getting ahead of whatever situation is coming down the pipe that we might not see. Just learning to give thanks in just before it all. And again, a great way to give thanks is to start your morning off in gratitude. That's the first thing that I do in the morning, is say thank you, God, for another wonderful and blessed day that you kept me alive. So I am thanking him in advance, and hopefully, prayerfully, whatever is coming my way that is going to be harmful, it's going to cause me to worry, be troubled, hopefully he's going to block that. He's going to fix that long before it gets to me. And so that's it, you guys, for today. I appreciate you for hopping on. As I told the other channel, I may be coming live again later today to try to play catch up. I'm still under the weather, as you can hear. And so hopefully I'll be able to go live. I still have some few family things that have been going on. And so I want to kind of get ahead of that today. Let's see. Yeah, and so that is it, you guys. With that being said, I am hopping off.